Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the semester's alternative class program. You have chosen to attend the topic Rendering Basic Video Editing 101. I am Jackie Louwen Cestina, your host for this ACP session. You are requested to be in the Zoom room until the end of the activity. We kindly remind all of you to observe proper etiquette, remain muted for the entire talk proper of the workshop, to avoid distracting the speaker and your fellow participants. Although not required, we also encourage you to open your cameras during the duration of the workshop. Finally, may we ask you to please make sure that your Zoom names are your real names for attendance checking. Allow me now to share with you the schedule of today's ACP workshop. There will be two parts. The first part is the talk of the resource speaker, while the second part is the open forum. Should you have any question or comments relative to the presentation of the speaker or the topic, please post them on the Zoom chat or the Adno OSA Facebook comment section. Please state your name, the school or organization you represent, and your brief question or comments. Later, during the open forum, we will address them through the speaker. No unrelated and offensive posts, please. Let us all be respectful. E-certificates will be given to those who will finish the entire workshop and accomplish the evaluation form. We will provide a link for the evaluation at the end of this ACP workshop. We hope that you will gain new and useful learning from this workshop. So to properly begin, may we now invite each of us to settle down and feel the presence of the Lord for the opening prayer. In the name of the Father, of the Son, of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
I beg to fall in love with thee, my Lord, with every breath of life I take. I beg to fall in love with thee, my Lord, its every beat I to thee forsake. For even if my thoughts fall short of knowing you, and even if my will runs terrified, your passion flings the darkness of my soul, sheds its light, breathes its life, sends the murmur of the night. I beg to fall in love with thee, my Lord, with every breath of life I take. I beg to fall in love with thee, my Lord, its every beat I to thee forsake. For even if my heart falls short of loving you, and if my spirit hides away, your love for me surpasses all my fears. I do all I do, all I am, all that I can ever be. I beg to fall in love with thee, my Lord, with every breath of life I take. I beg to fall in love with thee, my Lord, its every beat I to thee
In the name of the Father, of the Son, of the Holy Spirit. Amen. To formally welcome all of us in this ACP offering, we have with us the Executive Director of the Office of Missionary Identity, Ms. Janet B. Badong Badilla.
Good day, everyone, especially to you, our dear students. Welcome to this year's alternative class program activities. The ACP, as we know, is one of the structures by which we are able to concretize for you an experience of Jesuit education, where we are able to assist in your total formation as individual persons endowed with God's gifts. Through our ACP, we hope that we are able to help in the development of your imaginative, affective, and creative dimensions, especially in your life here as a student in the Ateneo de Naga. This school year, 2020-2021, as you know, has been a very challenging time for each one of us. With the COVID-19 pandemic, our life has been changed. Our way of learning and doing, our studies particularly, have been changed. Our manner of relating with others, even with our closest friends, has been changed. For many of us, these changes, even with more than a year already in the pandemic, we are still just learning the ways to cope, to adjust, and to adapt to this new world, to this new normal that we have, to this new online class that we have. As we offer this opportunity then to learn and grow through the ACP outside the regular classrooms, we express our cura personalis, our care and concern, our commitment of formation and service to you, dear students. With our theme this year, Better Normal, Activate Your E-Magis Nation, we hope to affirm the glory of God in ourselves, in oneself, which is an important dimension of Pura Personalis and Magis, which also happens to be two of our core values in the Ateneo de Naga. Both Pura Personalis and Magis bring us rather to an orientation toward God and others, to become one with God and with others. A oneness with humanity that brings about our gratitude, our sense of belongingness, our sense of being in a Christian family, friendship, companionship, cooperation, and service to our community. Here in Ateneo, we claim that our students learn not only to care for and respect individuals at a personal level, but also welcome opportunities that ensure growth to the fullest extent possible, a kind of growth that brings about wholeness and love, not just for oneself, but for one another. The choice to activate our E-Magis Nation is up to you, dear students. On our part, we can only create and offer you opportunities. It's up to you to grab these right opportunities that we have for you in the Ateneo. As we go about this year's ACP, then I hope that we will be able to appreciate the gift or gifts of Ignatian education, of Jesuit education, to make a better normal challenging times. So again, with this ACP, welcome. Enjoy the sessions. Choose the activity where you think you can learn the most. Good day.
All right, I know that we are all ready and excited to begin and meet our resource speaker for this year's Alternative Class Program or ACP. But before that, let's start a brief background about the ACP. Let's watch this.
Hello Ateneans, welcome to your Alternative Class Program, or ACP. I am Dal, your OPA, or Online Public Address Announcer for the ACP. Here is what you need to know about ACP. The ACP is one concrete expression of the Ignatian Formation Program and a major student activity. It is conducted every semester to provide college students with formative topics or activities outside of their regular classroom routine and daily schedule, in support of the university's uniquely Jesuit educational goals. Instead of attending their classes for the day, students choose at least one topic or activity from among the offerings during the ACP day. Carefully selected resource speakers from different fields of specialization are invited to share their knowledge, skills, and inspire students to nurture their personal development, pursue their aspirations, and partake in social advocacies or causes. You may have missed your ACP last semester, and the organizers may not be able to implement a face-to-face ACP at this time, and until the situation permits us to return to the campus and our classrooms, but OSA and its partners are confident that their experience in delivering formation programs and student services via online platforms and the support of the university community shall help in still providing a truly formative ACP experience to students in the new setting. This semester's ACP is designed to make use of available platforms like Zoom, Google Meet, and social media streaming features. Hence, health safety protocols are observed and access of students is assured. The theme #BetterNormal, Activate Your Imagination is a call for us to break from the so-called old normal and to activate our creative imagination to understand not only our personal context but also our social situations and to come up with new and better ways of living in the pandemic despite the limitations. It is a challenge to do action on how we, the Ateneans, can create a better environment for us and the larger society outside the gates of the university, or shall I say, outside our online classrooms. The Better Normal channels the Ignatian concept of magis, discerning to do the greater good in new channels and media, and by doing acts of service and love for God and for the nation. The ACP thus aims that the students are able to first, acquire knowledge and or skills that are relevant to one's interest, talent, skills, passion, advocacy. Next, relate or share the learning and insight gained from the topic or activity in conversation or dialogue and personal reflection. Next, examine the importance of one's interest, talent, skill, passion, advocacy to the development of the society, and seek ways or opportunities by which the gained or enhanced knowledge or skills can be further advanced and used for the benefit of the immediate organization or community or larger society. Listen, understand, discern, share, act. I hope that we will all take to heart our engagement in the ACP. Don't forget to learn and have fun while we experience AC. Ateneans.
All right, I hope we are all clear on why we are all here and what ACP is all about. Now, without further ado, let me introduce to you our resource speaker. Our speaker for this afternoon is currently a formator in the NSTP and CIFP program of the Ateneo de Naga University. In her college years, she was an active student leader of the Anduyog Junior Eagles Club, where she served as personal and organizational effectiveness program head and internal vice president. She was also a writer and photo contributor for the Bicol Eagles Journal Federation of the Philippine Eagle Clubs Incorporation from 2017 to 2020. She had several video editing experiences during her time as a student, which contributed to her extracurricular and personal projects. She took part in the production of short films like Pukaw in 2019 and Hapiyap in 2019 as video editor. In 2019, she finished her degree in communications with Latin honors. Let us all welcome Ms. Jennifer Guevara.
Hi, everyone. A good day to all of you. First, thank you for joining me in this ACP offering, and thank you also to our dear Office of Student Affairs for inviting me as your resource speaker for this ACP topic, which is Rendering Basic Video Editing 101. It is really an honor, and I am glad that this time I'll be able to share my knowledge and my skills in video editing. Hopefully, by the end of this ACP offering, you will also be inspired to create your meaningful content and aesthetically appealing videos for, of course, for school and for personal purposes. So let's start. To begin with, let me just say that media is a powerful tool. Now, we all know that, but aside from the articles that we read, the podcast that we listen to, videos or video production is also one of the common and useful media tools that we have right now. And it is very important for us to know our responsibility, especially on how we can be responsible in the message that we give to our audience or our viewers. Okay? And now, I believe some of you already has the background in terms of video editing. So we respect that. It will be a lot easier for you to understand the discussion for today. But let's also respect that some of our friends here right now who are listening are beginners. So, of course, we also need to respect that they are starting to understand what video editing is. Now, may I give you a brief background about production in general? So let me share with you the 3 stages of video production. Namely, we have the pre-production, the production stage, and the post-production stage. When we say pre-production stage, this is where we begin conceptualizing our video output. We conceptualize, we plan what content do we want for our video. This is also where we scout for location as you record or shoot. This is also where we write our script, where we have our storyboarding, when you are to create a short film, for instance, or when you find a cast. Lahat ng preparation po before the shooting or the recording, it happens in our pre-production stage. Okay? And when we go to the second stage, the production stage, this is, as I mentioned, where we shoot or record all that is needed or all the content that is needed for our video output. So nandito nagaganap yung ating photo shooting, video recording, voice recording, and so on and so forth. When we say post-production, so this is where the magic begins. Okay? This is where you stitch together all the output or all the videos, images that you recorded, you will now create one final structured output. Okay, in the post-production, this is where we edit our sounds, of course, where video editing takes place, and also this is where we color grade. Okay, so alam nyo na that in the post-production, it is where we start video editing. Okay, but when we say video editing, what do we really mean by this? Is it simply stitching together or combining together set of video clips and putting a background music? Is that enough to be called video editing? Or is there more to that? Actually, there's more to that. Okay? So when we say video editing, this is an essential part of the post-production stage, which includes cutting, modifying, arranging, and stitching together video clips, images, and audio files to create a structured video output. Okay, so this is more than just cutting or putting together clips. This is where you also add transition, you add effects, you enhance the sounds, you enhance the aesthetics of your videos, of your images. So lahat, no? Your final decision making is done in the video editing because that's the final stage of the video production. Before you distribute your output, before you post your output in the social media perhaps, nagkakaroon muna tayo ng video editing. Now, to help you edit better for your future videos, for school or for personal use, let me share with you 5 important things that you should remember when you are editing your video. Let me begin with the first one. Of course, as an editor, you have to prepare yourself. Ano ba yung mga kailangan mong paghandaan personally as an editor? So you have to remember, first, to maintain and develop personal qualities that help you work better. So what are these qualities that will help you work better, that will help you edit better? Let me give you 4 qualities that personally I have gained through many years of video editing. The first thing is creativity. In video editing, well, it's also an art form. Diba? So you have to remember that it will entail a lot of your creative juice, okay? So you have to sometimes think outside of the box. How will you make this video output of yours more aesthetically beautiful or appealing? How will you cut the videos to make it more accurate? Which effects will you use? Which transition will you use? So it will really entail a lot of creative juice, no? Minsan ako, I personally edit in the evening, no? Kasi nga, mas gumagana yung aking creative juice in the evening. But again, it's up to you as an editor. Basta, again, what will be challenge for you, lalo na kung hindi ka naman talaga entirely ganun ka-creative na person, no, is to have that creativity as you edit your videos. The second thing that you'll have to have as an editor is meticulousness, yung pagiging detail-oriented. Okay? Since video editing is the last stage of the video production, so sa'yo na mangyayari, or sa stage na to mangyayari yung final refinement ng video ninyo. So you have to be very OC, di ba? Yung very OC, very meticulous. Okay? So, konting details lang na hindi mo mapansin. For example, mali yung spelling, then you have to edit again. Okay? And it takes a lot of time to render your video. So, you have to edit again. Kaya mali lang yung, for example, sa dalawang clip na nilagay mo, may konting space lang. Kaya sa naging output mo, medyo may part doon na may black part. May parang blank. So, you have to edit it again. Okay, that's again meticulousness. Kailangan mo maging OC. Kaya nga ako, whenever I edit, I always make sure to double check, triple check, no, kung ilang pang check, no, bago ako mag-render and mag-export ng output. No? Because kapag hindi ko yan napansin, it will again, my time, no, will be wasted. So I have to repeat. So you have to be meticulous whenever you are editing your videos. The third thing is patience. patience. Sobrang grabing patience, guys. Sa mga may experience na in video editing, especially editing a very large file, you know that it takes a lot of time to render and export. No, minsan hours, no, na to the point na ang rami mo nang nagawa for the day, hindi pa tapos mag-render yung video output mo. Kailangan ng sobrang patience kasi kung kulang yung patience mo, Diyos ko, di ba? Simula pa lang, susukuan mo na siya, susukuan mo na yung output mo. And also, yung device mo rin, dapat kasama mo yung sa patience. Dapat kaya rin nung device mo. For example, if you are using your laptop, dapat kaya nung laptop mo to handle that hours of rendering or exporting. Okay? So it takes a lot of patience. I remember when I was also editing back when I was in college, I edited this short film. Tapos nagkataon na sa bahay ako nag-edit. So I have to bring, of course, the output in school. No, face-to-face pa nun. Yung klase namin was 6 p.m. And I edited for straight 2 days. No sleep, no, may eating din, snacks, syempre. No? Pero no sleep. Talagang nandun ako sa kwarto nag-edit because we had to submit the short film for our film class. So, 6 p.m. yung aming class at hindi pa tapos mag-render yung video na edit ko. It's a bit heavy file, kaya it takes a longer time to render. So, hindi pa siya natatapos. Magsi 6 p.m. na. So, I've decided as the editor, ang ginawa ko na lang was that, of course, nag-prepare ako for school, pumunta ako sa school, sumakay ako ng tricycle, pero yung laptop ko naka-open. Okay, because it's still rendering. I have to protect my files. So I have to protect the video that I'm editing. So pumunta ako sa school na tumatakbo ako papunta sa classroom. Ano pa yon? 4th floor, Arupe pa. Diba? 4th floor, Arupe. So tumatakbo na ako. Dala-dala yung laptop ko. Those are the sacrifices that you will have to make whenever you are editing. So, grabing patience. Tapos pagdating ko sa classroom, nag-announce si ma'am, we will extend the deadline of your short film. Di ba? Ang saya-saya. Pero still, di ba, our group was able to pass that night. So, it was a big accomplishment also and an unforgettable experience for me. So, your patience will really be tested. So prepare nyo ang sarili nyo for all of this. And then last one, we have the proficiency. Proficiency in terms of knowing the software that you're using for editing, also knowing the tools for editing, and terms that you have to remember when you are editing videos. Of course, dapat kilala mo din yung device mo. No? If you're using a laptop or phone or desktop, which is the software that is more applicable for that. Kasi may mga software that is too heavy and your device cannot function well, no, kung yun yung software na gagamitin ninyo. Okay? But we'll talk about proficiency more, or we'll talk about your software and tools, no, later on, because that is my second point. Okay, but before we go there, so you have these 4 characteristics that you have to remember and to prepare yourself with, before you start editing. Again, creativity, meticulousness, patience, and proficiency. So let's go to the second point that I would like to share. The second thing that I want you to remember, aside from the personal qualities that you have to have, in relation dun sa proficiency that I have mentioned, is that as a video editor, you have to amplify your knowledge on video editing, softwares, tools, and terminologies. Okay? Again, as I mentioned earlier, some of you might already have a background on how to edit videos, but some are beginners. So dun sa mga may background na sa video editing, may experience na, then that's good. At least majority sa isi-share ko ngayon, alam nyo na, but maybe you can still amplify that knowledge, no? Have more practice, no? Para mas makapag-edit effectively. And for our friends here who are beginners, then most of what I will be sharing are new to you. No? But I hope it will help you to prepare as you edit your videos in the future. So how will you be able to amplify your knowledge? Let me share with you a few things about editing software, tools, and terminologies. Let's start with the software. Okay? It's, by the way, software lang, hindi softwares. Okay? Plural or singular, it's only software. Okay? Sige, so these are some of the many video editing software and apps that we have. May apps na tayo kasi nga sa modern time, di ba, we already have video editors in our phones. No, pero noon, di ba, yung mga software lang sa laptop and sa desktop computers natin. So here are some of the effective video editing tools or video editing software that you may use. I've personally used some of these, pero yung iba hindi pa. Especially the apps, I edit more using my laptop. Okay? I'm not used to editing in my phone kasi masyadong maliit yung screen. I cannot see it properly. And mas efficient ako mag-work sa laptop. But for some who might not have, of course, their laptop or their desktop, you may choose to use your phone. Kasi ngayon nga meron naman na tayong editing apps or video editing apps. So here are some of this. Okay? We have the Adobe Premiere Pro. Yung iba dito, for expert, no? The first thing you should know, by the way, with your software is that some of our software are free, but some are those you have to purchase. Ay lalo na if you need the license, no, for professional use, you have to purchase it sa mga legal and legit stores where you can find them. And for some, they might be free for a few times, like for 7 days, my trial, 30 days trial, and after that, you have to buy already the software so that you can access other features. Yung iba, you have to upgrade. And again, you have to buy. But there are also open source software. For apps, there are free apps that you can use for your phone. So again, isa na dito yung ating Adobe Premiere Pro, Cyberlink Power Director, Wondershare, Filmora, Apple Final Cut Pro, Movie Maker, Shotcut, OpenShot, KineMaster, iMovie, and Viva Video. So these are some. Hindi ko kasi ma-discuss lahat, no? Pero ito yung pwede yung option. So tignan natin isa-isa kung ano yung itsura ng mga software na to. Kasi minsan mas makikita mo yung, or malalaman mo kung alin yung mas applicable sa'yo, mas friendly sa'yo, sa unang kita mo pa lang ng software. Now, when choosing your software or editing app, you should remember to consider the working space. No, as you look at it, is it are you more comfortable with it? Is it too complicated for you? Is it too friendly for you? No, ikaw mismo as an editor can identify that. But if you want a challenge, no, for as an editor, you can go with the very complicated software if you want. No, but I would guarantee you na sa unang tingin mo pa lang question ka na, yung parang ano to, para saan tong mga to. No, it's very complicated, lalo na kasi in professional use, ginagamit din tong ating mga video editing software such as the Adobe Premiere Pro. So tignan natin isa-isa yung workspace nila. As you open the software, ano yung makikita nyo. Para at least matulungan ko kayo to choose your own editing software. Okay, let's start with the Adobe Premiere Pro. I've been using Premiere Pro ever since. At nung una ko talaga siyang inopen, nagulat ako, ano, para saan itong mga tools na to? Diba? Ano kaya itong ibig sabihin niya? Ayan, kung makikita nyo, it's a very professional software. So it might not be friendly for the beginners out there who are to edit for the first time. But for those who have a background already in editing, this is much better for you to, of course, to amplify, no? Yung mag-practice pa kayo para mas mapagaling yung video editing skills, mas maganda ring mag-upgrade kayo ng inyong software if you would like. No, it's challenging to use it, but this is what most media company or professional video editors use, especially in editing films, no, and series, no, and so on. So ito yung ginagamit nila. May bayad lang yung Adobe Premiere Pro kasi kailangan mo ng license for that. But there's a counterpart na app ng Premiere Pro. We have the Adobe ano ngayon, Adobe Rush. Okay, Adobe Rush, Premiere Rush. I forgot. I have not yet used it, but I think no, may update sila sa app. I'm not sure if it's free, but I guess they have also the free trial. So you may want to explore it if you would like. Yan. And then a bit friendlier, aside from the Premiere Pro, a bit friendlier software is the CyberLink Power Director. I've also used this. Nagkataon na yung una kong laptop, merong naka-install na ng CyberLink Power Director. So it's a bit friendly compared to the Premiere Pro. When you look at it, di ba, parang hindi siya masyadong complicated. So you can also use CyberLink Power Director. Same with the Premiere Pro, meron siyang counterpart ngayon na app. The Power Director lang. So you may search it in your Play Store if you would like the CyberLink Power Director. Okay, mamaya i-share ko kung ano yung mga nandyan, ano yung parts, ano yung mga terms on video editing. We also have the Wondershare Filmora. Recent lang po ako gumamit actually ng Filmora and I actually appreciate it that much. Nasira kasi yung old laptop ko, so wala yung Adobe Premiere Pro ko. So I shifted to Filmora. And it is really a friendly app. Okay? A friendly software, I mean. No, hindi siya ganun ka-complicated compared to the Premiere Pro, but it has a lot of features already. May mga transition na nandyan, effects that you can readily use. Okay? Ako, I would recommend Filmora. Okay? Maganda talaga siya. Hindi naman sa pag-compare sa mga, everything is all good, but for me, since I'm using Filmora now, at yun yung gagamitin ko later for demonstration, I would also recommend Filmora. There is also a counterpart application or app for Filmora. They have the Filmora Go. So you may also want to try that for phone users. And for Apple users or iPhone users, Apple, this is for laptop pala. We have the Apple Final Cut Pro. I am not quite familiar with this since I do not have an Apple device, but for some, you might have used this. Similar features, sadyang pang lang talaga siya, pang Mac, okay, for Apple devices. And then we also have, ito yung pinaka-unang editing software that I've used since I was a kid and high school then. We have the Windows Movie Maker. They've also updated in terms of the features and I'm not sure kung pati yung layout nila sa software ay napalitan na. But this is the one of the most easiest video editing tool that you can use, lalo na for beginners. Pang slideshow siya, most actually, pero you can also include videos here. Right? So, ganyan yung ating Movie Maker. Free ang Movie Maker natin. We also have open sources software, okay, which you can find in the internet. So, they are free for you. I've not used this, but isa siya sa mga top open source software, editing software that we have. We have the Shotcut. As you can see, it is also friendly to look at, not too complicated, and easier, I guess, to manipulate. Aside from the Shotcut, another open source software is the OpenShot. Okay, almost similar with the Shotcut. Isa rin to sa top video editing software na open source. And then for mobile phone users, I've not personally used these apps, but these are the commonly used sa ating sa na-research natin. So we have the KineMaster. So ganyan yung kanilang itsura when you open the KineMaster. For phone users, we also have for iPhone users the iMovie. iMovie may counterpart din siya sa laptop, but if you have the phone or iPhone, you can have the iMovie. Okay? And then last but not the least, we also have the Viva Video. Also one of the popular video editing not software but apps right now, which I've not again personally used because I do not usually edit through my phone. So ayan, ano lang siya, portrait kasi yung ginagamit niya, hindi siya nagla-landscape. So among all of this video editing software and apps, you have the freedom to choose, which are you more comfortable to use, which is more friendly for you, not too complicated. Okay, kasi your software along with your device is your partner in video editing. Okay? Mas makaka-work better kayo as you edit when you have or when you know your software or app. Okay? And bukod sa software and app, we have to know also the tools that we must use and terminologies that we have for video editing. So we have lots of video editing, basic video editing terminologies such as yung mga nandito, rendering, what do we mean by rendering, track, color grading, timeline, what is timeline? Is it similar with my timeline in Facebook or is it different? What is the A-roll, export, import, preview, library, resolution, bitrate, transition, etc., etc. So what do we mean by this? Later, as I demonstrate, no, I'll show you or I'll explain kung ano tong mga terms na to. And then, we also have to find out some of the basic video editing tools. Okay? Yung mga gagamitin natin na commands in video editing. This is common, no? Commonly used tools. Nagkakaiba-iba lang siya sa shortcut, no? At nagkakaiba-iba lang sa itsura, no, depending on your software. But for this one, for the demonstration that I'll be showing, I'll use the Filmora, no, kasi nga, sabi ko, that's the editing software that I have now. If you have the Filmora software right now, then feel free to follow through the demonstration that I'll give later. Pero kung iba yung software or app ninyo, then you can just try to examine and search kung alin yung tool that I'm pertaining to. Okay? So first you have to know that if you have an app or a software that is unlicensed, there is more likely to have a watermark. Okay? Of course, to give due credit to the app or the software. Pero okay lang yun, no? Kung may watermark, that's all right. So when you open your software, your Filmora software, this is the first thing that you will see. And you can see there options such as if you have to open a project or a new project, the aspect ratio, that's how wide or the size of our screen or our frame is. The project library, this is where your recent projects are open, okay, or are placed. When we say project, that's the file that we work on when we are editing. And this is our video editor workspace. Again, this is Filmora that I am using. So in our video editor workspace, we have lots of parts. So isa-isahin natin yung parts na yon. Let's go first with the media library. When we say media library, this is actually where you will be able to see and look for your media files like video clips, images, audio, and so on and so forth. Okay, included here also are the audio files that are free or that goes with your software, the titles, transitions, effects, elements, split screen, etc. Okay, tignan natin kung ano yung mga yon. Okay, when we say audio, again, these are the audio files that are free doon sa software ninyo. In case dito sa atin sa Filmora 9, so here are some of the sample audio that we have. This includes background music. Ang audio natin, background music, recordings, narrations, voiceovers, etc. When we say titles, these are simply text or our title text. Okay, may mga template naman na yung ibang software natin. So it's easier for you to choose from all this. So for instance, sa Filmora, ito yung kanilang free templates sa titles. But you can also create your own if you want to modify it based on your personality or based on what you want, depending on the video that you're editing. And when we say transition, transition is a technique that we use in video editing. This is actually to connect one video clip from another. Okay, so that's a technique that we use. For some editors, they don't use transition anymore, but again, it depends on the video that you are editing. It is also good that you have transition so that your viewers will know that you're going to a different clip. Or for instance, kung short film siya, may other scene ka, no, because of the transition that you incorporate in that video. And then when we say effects, these are again our, this is again one of our techniques, no? One of the techniques that we use to enhance the beauty of our images and videos, okay, aesthetically. Elements naman, elements are, for instance, overlays. These are the images, videos that we place over a specific video. For example, you have your primary video at may gusto kang, for instance, gusto mo nung parang heart, emoji, ilagay dun sa video mo, then that's what we call overlay or other elements, okay, to make your video aesthetically appealing. We also have here the split screen. In other software, walang mga ganitong template for the split screen, but for some, there are, such as Filmora. So here, a split screen, by the way, is a division of your entire video. Whenever you want to place two videos or more at the same time, so they are playing simultaneously, you can have the split screen. So in Filmora, you have here a few templates that you can use for the split screen. Aside from the media library, we also have here our preview window. When we say preview window, this is where you will initially see the output or the video that you have assembled. So yan yung replay ninyo, parang replay. Okay, so this is where you will see it. We have here controls or tools such as the play button, stop button, forward, backward. You also have here your time code, how long your video is running, and other tools that you can explore. Again, it depends on the software. Yung ibang software, wala nung ibang specific tools. Aside from the preview window, you also have your toolbar. Your toolbar, from the term itself, this is where you will see some of the tools or commands that you can have for your editor. Okay, we have the undo, redo, the delete, the split or cut. You also have the marker. Marker is one of the handy tools I use. For instance, para siyang actually bookmark that you can use to mark, okay? Or to mark the specific part of your work, of your video. In case na gusto mo siyang balikan na lang, di ba? Kasi kung hindi ka binalikan, eto, gusto mo balikan, di ba? So kung gusto mo balikan yung isang part ng ating video clip, then you can put or place a marker. Okay? You can also choose a specific color, no, para mas easier for you. And we also have here yung plus and minus button. That's a way for you to zoom in or zoom out of your timeline. Okay? Yung timeline, i-introduce ko kung ano yon. Okay? And may button din if you want to record a voice or a narration and so on and so forth. We also have, again, our timeline. So this is our workspace. This is where we assemble all the video clips, all the images, the audio files, lahat ginagawa natin dito sa ating timeline. So this is different from the timeline that we have in our Facebook account. Okay? In the timeline, you will see their layers, separated by shade. So those each layer is called our track. Okay? You have a video track. This is where you will place your video. And then the audio track, of course, your audio. And you see here a red line. It's a red vertical line. This is, in a way, it serves like a cursor. Okay? To see where you are right now as you preview your output or your video. And may para siyang button na scissor. It's actually to cut. No, button to cut or to split your video or image. And in the timeline, you will also see tools such as yung parang may square and plus sign. That's the add track. So you can add track. No, you're not limited to only one audio track and one video track. You can add more than that depending on which you need or how many you need. Later, I'll demonstrate how you can use it. And may parang lock dyan, pod lock. Your pod lock there, that's how you can lock your track. Okay? Why do we need to lock our track? In case na okay na yung for example, yung video track mo, it's already all right, you don't want to alter anything anymore, you can lock that para hindi na siya magalaw. Kasi sometimes accidentally nagagalaw natin yung mga files without us knowing and mag-wonder ka kung ano nangyari. So para hindi yun mangyari, mga ganun na accidents, okay, in video editing, you can lock that track. Same with the audio track. So now let me show you how to import your media files. When we say importing, this is uploading, okay, of raw videos and images and audio. So when you import your device, you can either double-click yung plus sign dito sa ating media library, or you can click the import word. But since we are to demonstrate first, let's use the sample video here. Also, a good thing about your media file, by the way, is that you can organize your files. Once you're ready, once you have imported your files, or before that, you can create your folders. Okay, this is to organize your files better para hindi siya sabog, para hindi magulo. Alam mo kung saan makukuha yung mga files mo whenever you want it. For example, you can separate all the video files sa images and sa audio and text, or you can either, if you are, again, editing a short film, you can have a folder for scene 1, for scene 2, for scene 3, depending on you, on how you will want to organize your project media library. Kanina na-mention ko that you can zoom in and out of your timeline. What is the importance of this? If ever there are clips that are too short, and you cannot see it anymore, it's hard for you to edit that. So you have to zoom in to your timeline so that you can manipulate it. That's the purpose of that. So here's how you will do it. You just have to, again, drag this little circle or click the plus and minus sign. Okay, so now that we are done with that, what can we do in the timeline? So in the timeline, what we usually have is to either split or trim our video. Iba rin yung cut, okay? When we say split the video, you have to divide it into 2, okay? Doon ka sa middle part, magse-select, okay? Or mag-split. So you divide it into 2. And then when we say trim, trimming is editing your clip. You're removing some of the clip either at the beginning or at the end of that specific video clip. That's trimming. Similar with what we do with our hair. We trim, pero syempre dun sa tips lang. Okay? And then when we say cut, that's again a technique, but cut is moving from one video to another. Okay? For example, in the video that you're editing, in the production stage, sa shooting, gumamit kayo ng dalawang camera. So you may have your main camera and a camera B. So camera A and camera B. If you want to, from the main camera, you have to shift from the B camera. That's called cutting. So you cut from camera A to camera B. So that's cut. Okay? And aside from the splitting and trimming, as I've mentioned a while ago, you can add on some tracks, especially if you want some video clips or images that you want to place over your main video. Okay, so what you can do is you select the video that's there already in your timeline and just drag it above. You will automatically have the second video track. Kung wala ka naman video pa, you can use the button to add track. Again, yung parang square na may plus sign. Okay? So now that you have this multiple tracks, ano yung mga tawag dito? We have here the A roll and the B roll. When we say A roll, yun yung nasa track 1 ninyo. That's your main video footage or video footage that you use. When we say B roll, these are the clips, video clips and images that you use or that you include in your track as supplementary videos or clips to make your output look better. Now, what if you want to import files coming from your device? So again, you can either double-click the plus sign sa ating media library or click the import button. Okay, once you have the file, again, click the plus sign and it will automatically be placed in your timeline. Now, you might wonder, ano yung color blue? Okay, that's our audio. Okay? Yung una kasing videos na nalagay natin, wala silang audio. So kapag yung video mo, it has an audio, it will look like this. It will have the sound waves. Okay, and these are some of the things that we can do in the timeline. Now, how can you improve your video? You can edit your video by altering the color and including motions, okay, in your video. So all you have to do is, again, highlight or select the video that you want to edit or to improve. And you will see in the media library, you will see there the video, color, and motion. So here's what you can do with your video. You can transform, you can edit the rotation, you can flip it, the scale, the position. In the position, you imagine here your Cartesian plane. Okay, you have the X and Y axis. Our X axis, that's our horizontal, and Y axis is the vertical line. Okay, you can either move it from left to right or upward and downward. You also have other things that you can include to edit: compositing, stabilizing. Stabilizing, if your video is too shaky, you can use stabilization. Chroma key, that's your green screen. It's a more advanced tool, but if you want, for instance, to change your background, you can use the green screen. But make sure that as you record that in your production stage, the background is color green. Now, that's our chroma key. And then as you alter or edit the color, you can enhance the color, adjust the color balance, the tone, etc., etc. And then motion. You can include motion to your video to make it more appealing. You just have to select that and place that in the video that you would want it to be. And once you're done with everything that you are editing, you're good with the effects, the transition, with all the clips and images, you are now ready to render. When we say rendering, that's refining your entire output. Okay? Kasi kapag hindi mo yan ni-render, yung magiging output mo, medyo para siyang choppy or naghahang, naglalag minsan. Okay? So you have to render your entire file. And it takes a very long time, of course, depending on how heavy your video is, how heavy your output is, and how long it is. So it will take time. May, may notification on the percentage that it is already done rendering.
1 hour later, 2 hours later, 3 hours later.
Can you move it along? I'm all out of time cards.
Once you're done rendering, you will again have a few hours to export your video. When you export, you will see all these settings. You will see there, of course, you will have to change the name of your output. Also locate where you will have to save your output in your device. Your resolution. Again, our resolution is the number of pixels that we have in our frame. Frame rate, size file, ay nandyan indicated, and the duration of your file. How long is your video? And when you click the setting, you will also have their other options. And once you're done, you can already, again, locate and check the output that you have done. Now that you are more knowledgeable on your video editing software, tools, and terminologies, may I share now with you the third thing that you must remember when editing your video. The third thing is that you have to guarantee the good quality visuals and sounds of your videos. And how will you maintain the good quality sounds and visuals? Let me share a few tips with you. Let's start with our visuals. How can we improve our visuals? The first thing that you have to remember is that you have to make use of color grading to improve the images and video clips. When we say color grading, this is altering or adjusting the color of your video or your image. And you can either improve the brightness or change the color depending on the mood, the environment, the atmosphere that you want to relay in your video, and other effects that you can use to enhance the aesthetic beauty of your video output. That's color grading. Okay, so usually, when we color grade, ang kadalasang ginagawa sa mga basic video editing is you either enhance the exposure or lower the exposure. When we say exposure, that's the brightness of either your image or your video. Okay, that's the amount of light that is in your image or your video. It can either be too dark kasi or too bright na yung mga picture natin or videos natin. So here's an example of an underexposed photo that you can improve using color grading by enhancing or enhancing the exposure. Okay, this is the before and the after. Okay, the photo is not mine, but this is the magic that color grading can do to your image. Okay, imagine improving your visuals through color grading by, again, enhancing the exposure. So your exposure can either be underexposed, that means too dark, or overexposed, that means too bright. Okay? So you just have to adjust. Again, you may use several effects for this, or you just, yung ginawa kong demonstration kanina, you alter the yung white balance natin, and so on and so forth. So you can use effects for this. Aside from that, some editors would want to change the color of their video depending on what they are editing. For instance, sa short film, kadalasan nag-change ng mga colors natin. Or if you're editing a promotional video, pwede rin yun. So this is an example of a photo that was color graded. For example, if you want to capture our magic hour, pero hindi mo na shot yung video in the magic hour itself. And the temperature of that video is a bit cool, okay? Medyo bluish. So you want it to be more saturated, to be more warm or warmer, okay? So you can adjust the color of your image of your video. Ayan, so that's the magic of color grading. See how that improves your video or your image? So that's the first tip in improving your visuals. The second tip for improving your visual is to design with the suitable typography. When we say typography, this is the appearance of the text that we include in our videos. Minsan kasi may mga video na ang ganda ng pagka-edit, pero yung mga ginamit na text, pwedeng yung font, yung size ng text, is not that very appealing. Kaya medyo awkward yung pagkagamit ng mga text. So to improve that, let me share with you a video. So this is not from me, but a video coming from the gcflearnfree.org. So let's all watch this.
Typography. It's everywhere we look. In the books we read, on the websites we visit, even in everyday life, on street signs, bumper stickers, and product packaging. Simply put, typography is the style or appearance of text. It can also refer to the art of working with text, something you probably do all the time if you create documents or other projects for work, school, or yourself. Typography can be an intimidating subject, but it doesn't have to be. You only need to know a little to make a big difference in the stuff you do every day. So let's get started. First, some common types of fonts and what you need to know about them. Serif fonts have little strokes called serifs attached to the main part of the letter. Because of their classic look, they're a good choice for more traditional projects. They're also common in print publications, like magazines and newspapers. Sans serif fonts don't have that extra stroke, hence the name, which is French for without serif. This style is considered more clean and modern than serif fonts. Also, it tends to be easier to read on computer screens, including smartphones and tablets. Display fonts come in many different styles, like script, black letter, all caps, and just plain fancy. Because of their decorative nature, display fonts are best for small amounts of text. For example, titles and headers, and more graphic-heavy designs. In a way, fonts have their own language. They all have something to say beyond the words on the page. They can come across as casual or neutral, exotic or graphic. That's why it's important to think about your message and pick a font that fits. Some fonts come with extra baggage, like Comic Sans, Curls, Papyrus, and many more. There's nothing particularly wrong with these fonts. They just have a certain reputation for being outdated and overused. If you find yourself tempted by them, think twice and consider using something else. There are many fonts with a similar look and feel that are less likely to detract from your message. When deciding which fonts to use, less is more. It's best to limit yourself to 1 or 2 per project. If you need more contrast, try repeating one of your fonts in a different size, weight, or style. This trick is practically foolproof for creating interesting combinations that work. You've probably heard the saying, opposites attract. Well, the same is true for fonts. Don't be afraid to combine font styles that are different but complementary, like sans serif with serif, short with tall, or decorative with simple. This can be challenging at first, but don't despair. Look to other designs for inspiration, and soon you'll get the hang of it. Maybe you've heard terms like kerning, leading, tracking, and hierarchy. For those with more experience, these concepts are essential for creating professional-looking designs. As a beginner, you don't need to know everything about these terms, just enough to inform your work and help you talk about design with more confidence. Hierarchy is used to guide the reader's eye to whatever is most important. In other words, it shows them where to begin and where to go next, using different levels of emphasis. Establishing hierarchy is simple. Just decide which elements you want the reader to notice first, then make them stand out. High-level items are usually larger, bolder, or different in some way. Remember to keep it simple and stick to just a few complementary styles. Leading is the space between lines of text, also known as line spacing. If you're not sure how much line spacing to use, don't fret. The default is usually fine. The goal is to make your text as comfortable to read as possible. Too much or too little spacing can make things unpleasant for the reader. Tracking is the overall space between characters, sometimes called character spacing. Most programs let you condense or expand this depending on your needs. In some designs, you might adjust your tracking to create a certain artistic effect. It can also help you fix fonts that are poorly spaced to begin with. Kerning is the space between specific characters. Unlike tracking, it varies over the course of the word because each letter fits together differently. Some fonts have what we call bad kerning, making certain letters look improperly spaced. If a font you're using has bad kerning, it's best to cut your losses and choose something else. Well-crafted text can mean the difference between an ordinary project and an extraordinary project, even if you're just getting started with design. All it takes is an interest in typography, and you'll start to notice more, see more, and be able to do more in your own work.
Okay, so hopefully you've learned a lot from that video about typography. And actually, you can use your knowledge there, not just in video editing, but in, for example, editing your PowerPoint, your posters in school. You can use it to improve the quality of your typography. Okay, so nakita niyo yung difference kapag masyadong malaki yung text, kapag masyadong maliit, iba yung impact niya. Diba? You should always include the beauty of your text. Kahit minsan konti lang yung text na ginagamit natin, pero iba rin yung impact na ibinibigay niya sa videos natin. The third thing that you have to remember to improve your visuals is that you have to apply minimal effects only. Kahit gustuhin man natin maraming effects, baka sabihin nyo, it will make your video more appealing. Actually, not much, okay? Kasi you should not overdo your effects. No, bukod sa medyo magiging heavy na yung file mo, yung video mo kapag maraming effects, sometimes hindi rin maganda kapag masyado ng over effects, no? Kasi your viewers might not know size mo sa video mo. And also, when you have too much effects in your videos, a tendency will be, it will be much harder for you to render and export kasi nga malaki yung file na na-create nyo because of too much effects. And what I usually do, when I edit video, I usually put the effects last. You have to cut first, you have to place all the images or videos first in your timeline before ka maglagay ng effects or transition. Okay? Bakit? Kasi kapag naglagay ka na agad ng maraming effects or ng effects mo, again, it depends on your device and the software that you're using, pero tendency would be naglalag yung software, so it will be challenging for you. So if ever you add the effects at the latter part, when your timeline is already good, kung okay na yung clips mo, then tsaka ka na maglagay ng effects and transition. Okay, so remember that. Do not ever overdo your effects. Huwag masyadong maglagay ng effects because, no, if you overdo your effects, you will look like this as you render. The fourth thing that you'll have to remember is that you have to utilize appropriate transition. Diba? I've showed you a while ago that we have several options for your transition effects. No, you can either fade in, fade out, dip to white, dip to black. Yun kasi mga ginagamit ko. Ano pa ba? Mga zoom, zoom in, zoom out, no? And other transition effects that you can use. Ito dapat hindi rin to overdo. Do not place too much or too many transition effects. Mas maganda rin, sometimes, some of, especially professional video editors would use only cut. Okay, yung na-mention ko kanina, cut is shifting from one video clip to another. Okay, para makita mo yung change of scene. Di lang kailangan may transition ka. Okay, ano ba yung mga pinaka nakikita natin or obvious na may mga cut? No, yung ating, di ba, sa Provinciano, na teleserye natin sa ABS-CBN. Diba? They are known for their cuts or transition na yung zoom, diba? Zoom, zoom, zoom sa mukha ng character. O kaya kung hindi, no, the camera would move from one character to another and another and another. Okay? Minsan awkward yung mga ganun na transition. But if again, you want to have a feeling of tension, feeling of suspense or thrill in your video, then you can use that, yung mga gano'n na fast track na transition. It all depends on the mood that you want to set. Be very careful with the transition because if it's too fast, your viewers might not understand it anymore kasi masyadong mabilis yung transition. No, but if it's too slow naman, it will be a bit boring, no, for your viewers because it's, again, slow pace. So you have to set the right transition. Kung cut yung gagamitin ninyo, make sure that it is aligned with the theme or the atmosphere, the feels of your video. Such as this one, I'll be showing you an example. This is a short film that I edited back in college. So this is not the entire film, only a clip from the film, which incorporates the cutting transition and has this intensity or this suspense feels. Okay, so let's all watch this. Okay, so nakita nyo yung impact na binibigay ng transition natin. That's how powerful our transition can be. Okay, so you have to choose carefully which transition to use and how will you transition from one clip to another. The last thing that I want you to remember when you are editing your visuals is that you have to know when and where to cut your clips. Okay, do not have that awkward cut. Okay, for example, may scene na yung character mo nakataas yung kamay, ikakat mo siya to a different angle, dapat yung next clip na yon nakataas din yung kamay niya. Hindi yung biglang, yung sa first clip, sa first video, nakataas nga yung kamay niya, tapos dun sa second clip, biglang bumaba. Tapos dun sa next, nakataas ulit. So ano yun? Sumasayaw siya. So you have to be consistent, no? In when and where you will cut your videos. Yung appropriate cuts natin. Sometimes when I cut my video clips, I depended on the music, okay? Or the sounds. Kung may narration siya, kung may dialogue, for example, may mga words na sinasabi yung narrator like flowers, okay? I should make sure na yung nasa visuals ko is a flower. Okay? O kaya kapag may sinabi siya tungkol a particular person, nagsasalita yung person, dapat yung video mo, yun din, yung person na yun. So it should be aligned. Know when and where to cut your video. For example, let me share with you this video, a clip coming from the CIFP-NSTP video teaser for ORSEM. Clip lang to kasi it will take too long. This is where I'm telling you where and when to cut your videos properly. Okay, you have to align it to the dialogue or to the narration.
As a Jesuit university, it also provides the students the opportunities to deepen their understanding of oneself and his or her relationships with his or her family, peers, society, and God. It also invites the students to reflect and appreciate the social mission of the university and in the process to discover and realize that his or her life and education are gifts from God and are to be valued and in use in the service of God and others.
Okay, you see that? Nakita yung alignment ng ating video and ng ating audio. No, huwag kayong gagawa ng mga awkward cuts, okay? And lalo nang wala dapat ng gap. Okay, yung mga gap natin, that's why you have to be very meticulous. Kapag may dalawang clip ka na may space lang dyan na konti, no, na hindi mo na idugtong, tendency would be sa visual mo may color black, no? Or may empty part. Okay? At ang awkward nun, that's a gap. So you must be very meticulous in looking at your clips if it's properly cut and placed in your timeline. Okay, now let's look at how we can improve our audio this time. So how do we improve our sounds? I have 3 tips for you. First, you have to set the right volume of the audio. Okay, magandang naririnig yung dialogue. If there's a narration or if there's someone talking in your video, that should be the one that is emphasized, not the background music. Your background music should never, ever overpower the dialogue or the narration. Okay? Unless, kung wala naman dialogue or narration, no, for instance, you're making a music video at walang dialogue, then that's the time you can increase the volume of your music or of your audio. And the second thing is to incorporate the proper background music. Again, you have to make your viewers feel your video. Okay, so if it's a happy video, then incorporate a happy background music. If it's a video that is sad or mellow, use that kind of background music. If thriller, then thriller. Okay, if it's corporate or formal, then use a corporate background music. There are sources, no, that you can have for your background music. But if you want to create your own music and if you know how to do it, then you can also do that. Okay? If ever, no, also a tip, if ever you are using a video na may dialogue, meaning may nagsasalita, always use a background music that is instrumental. Okay? Para maintindihan pa ng viewers mo kung ano yung sinasabi ng nagsasalita na character sa video mo. But, no, if there's no dialogue, it's just clips and talagang background music lang yung i-add, you can either choose an instrumental or pwedeng yung may mga lyrics natin na background music, diba? Pag gumagawa tayo ng music video, that's when you can have the lyric video or background music, I mean. Okay? Pero kung dun sa music video mo, mag-incorporate ka ng dialogue, then gawin mo dapat instrumental yung background music para hindi ma-confuse yung viewers mo. No? Saan ba ako makikinig? Dito ba sa dialogue or sa background music? Siyempre, dapat palagi yung dialogue. Pero again, if you're making a music video, emphasize the background music. Okay, the last one that I want you to remember is to ensure that the voiceover and music are properly blended. Okay, kung sa choir, meron tayong blending, dapat sa video editing, meron din tayong blending. There are effects that you can use, no, na free sa inyong software. It depends again on the software that you can use to enhance the quality of your audio. Okay, if you are using the Premiere Pro, one technique is to use the equalizer. Yung equalizer, it helps you to manipulate your audio na yung magmukha siyang or marinig mo siyang hindi parang nilapat lang. Okay? May mga ganun kasing audio na parang nilapat mo lang siya. Parang sabay, no? Pati yung volume nung dialogue, yung volume ng background music, parang the same. Iba rin kasi kapag binabaan mo lang yung volume, iba yung impact. Doon sa talagang nag-blend sila together. Okay? You can use that equalizer if you want for Premiere Pro users. For the others, I think it's still also equalizer kung meron man sa software ninyo. Okay? So an example of a good quality audio that I'm proud of, this is the short film that we made back in college. And what I'm proud here is that it's an original soundtrack. Okay? The song that we used here is composed by our group member. And then the instruments is done by another person and the singing was done with the same person who made the music. Okay? So this is just a clip from that short film, but I hope you listen carefully, no? Kasi bukod sa naipakita yung magandang audio, of course, pinapakita or pinaparinig din namin dito yung beauty of Bicol language, okay, or Bicol dialect. So let's watch this.
Ang burak na ini, ang burak na ini, magayunon ang burak na ini, mapution, mahamuton, magayunon na maray, ang burak na ini, ang burak na ini. Naghihibi ang burak na ini, mas nagtitiklop, asin ang lulubog, naghihibi ang burak na ini.
Okay, so baka hindi nyo masyado naintindihan yung ating sample clip, but that's not the entire short film. But I hope you get it. No? That's how you incorporate proper audio, or that's how you improve the proper quality of your audio. The fourth thing that I want you to remember when you are editing your video is to instill an impactful message to your viewers. Okay? Your video should be understandable. You have to cater to your audience. Kasi no matter how beautifully or aesthetically appealing your video is, kung hindi siya naiintindihan ng viewer mo, it will not be very much effective. So your video should be clear, understandable, and it should be inspiring as well. Okay? Your audience or your viewers should not only see or hear your video, they should also feel it. Okay? They should also learn from it. Okay? And as an editor, it is most important that you put yourself in the shoes of the viewer. Okay, maiintindihan ba to kung papanoorin ko as a viewer? Okay, ganun yung ginagawa ko. Whenever I edit a video, I make sure that I place myself in the shoes of the viewer. Okay, kung ako yung manunood, is this clear to me? Kasi it depends still on our viewer. Again, for example, ang audience mo is for kids or children. Dapat yung video mo is understandable for kids. Okay? But if it's for adult, then it should also be understandable by adults. Okay? It depends on your audience. Again, what I've mentioned in the earlier part, media is a powerful tool. Okay? So you have to be responsible to the message that you give to your audience or to your viewers. Now, your viewers can either be inspired by your video, they can either like it, or the other way around. And as a video editor, as a producer, or as a creator of a content, you must accept that or take it as a challenge. Okay? Kung hindi masyado nagustuhan, kunin yung review, yung comment, then improve the future videos that you will be creating. So you have to be very, very responsible with the message that you give your viewers. The last thing that I want you to remember when you are editing a video is to always state the credits. Your credits can either be at the first part, that's the opening credit, or it can be either at the last part, that's the closing credit. Okay, this is to recognize the sources of the images and video clips that you have incorporated if it's not yours, and also to acknowledge the members of the group or the people behind the project. Okay? Especially if this is not a one-man production, meaning you are with a team, you have to recognize and indicate the names of your teammates, from the pre-production until the post-production stage, the people behind the videography, the script, the director, the extras, the editor, ikaw din, ilagay mo lahat ng yon doon sa credits. And most importantly, if you have used materials, for example, background music that's not yours, you have to indicate the owner. Okay? Kung nakita sa internet, you have to place there kung saan yung site, okay, or yung website that you have that you got your background music, okay, and so on and so forth. Importante yon, lalo na if you will use this video or if you will use your video as a profit, okay, or a source of profit or income. Okay, kung pagkakakitaan mo, importanteng nakalagay at magpaalam ka doon sa may-ari ng background music or ng video clips that you will be using for your video. Okay, para saan pang ina-advocate ng Office of Student Affairs yung kanilang Be Honest series. Diba? Naaalala niyo yung Be Honest series, one of the advocacies of OSA this semester. So you have to be honest. Okay? If that material is not yours, indicate that. Okay, in your sources or in your credits. That's also to respect, okay, the owner of that particular material. Okay, hindi lang dapat ikaw ma-recognize as an editor because you have that right. Everyone in the team should be recognized. Okay? And similarly, all the sources, the owners of clips or works that are not yours should be in the credits, to show your respect for these people. Overall, let us remember, number 1, to maintain and develop personal qualities that help you work better or edit better. Number 2, amplify your knowledge on video editing software, tools, and terminologies. Number 3, guarantee the good quality visuals and sounds of your videos. Number 4, instill an impactful message to your viewers. And number 5, state the credits to recognize your sources and acknowledge the people behind the project. In short, let us not forget Magis. Okay? And when we say Magis, gasgas na to sa ating Atenista, Magis is doing more. Magis is being more and giving more, to your project, to the videos that you edit. But most importantly, it should not be a Magis to the point of an exhaustion. Okay, na pagod ka na. But Magis, remember, in a Christian or Catholic perspective or in an Ignatian perspective, Magis should be remembering that you are doing this to serve God better. Okay? Do your videos, create your video outputs to serve God better. And how will you do that? Let us remember an inspiring thought coming from an American motivational speaker. He said that your purpose in life is to use your gifts and talents to help other people. Your journey in life teaches you how to do that. So in the future videos that you will be editing, so remember 3 important things. Of course, use your video for good. Okay? Use it to inform others other than to confuse them. Use it to empower others other than to degrade them. And use it to inspire others, not to discourage them. Okay? This is again how powerful your videos will be. So use it for the better. Because again, our talents in video editing, our skills, these are all gifts from God that we must use to serve Him better. And according to Saint Ignatius of Loyola, our closing quote or inspiration for today, all the things in the world are gifts of God created for us to be the means by which we can come to know Him better, to love Him more surely, and serve Him more faithfully. So in the future contents or videos that you'll have to create, use that as an instrument, okay, to empower, to inspire, and to inform other people, and most importantly, to serve God better. Once again, thank you so much for being with me and for listening to this ACP topic. If you have any questions, clarifications, later we can talk about it in the open forum. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Jing, for that workshop. Now, without further ado, we will open the floor for comments and questions for Ma'am Jing if you have sharing of insight in our open forum. Just kindly click the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called before unmuting to speak. You may also use the chat box to send your questions, and I will read them for you so the speaker can address it. So, Yan, while you are getting ready po with your questions or comments, may nag-chat na po sa akin from Mr. Noy Alpe, and the question is, ano pwede gawin sa pixelated videos na na-damage ng compression ng Facebook or na-delete yung original file pero we still want it to include sa final product? How can we improve the video quality, or should we just retake the shot? Or is there any immediate solution? Thank you, Mr. Alpe, for your question. Ma'am Jing, would you like to respond to that question po? Hi,
Yes,
Ma'am
thank
Jing.
you. Hi, Jackie. Thank you. And thank you, Noy, for that question. First, if you're actually shooting your video or you're taking photos, always make sure na maganda talaga from the production stage, di ba yung na-mention ko kanina. All those 3 stages are very essential. Okay? So, konting mistakes lang dun sa production stage, mahihirapan ka na sa post-production. And when you are transferring files, siguro don't use social media. No? Kasi talagang napipixelate yung mga images ninyo. So, either you can use a flash drive to transfer the file, or email would be good, no, para hindi ma-sacrifice yung quality ng audio. And I have not tried actually working on improving the pixelated image kasi I always make sure kapag production, kapag hindi maganda yung quality at first, uulitin talaga namin. Ganun, again, ka-meticulous dapat yung stages na yon ng production. So, kung hindi kayang i-improve through editing, kasi it depends again on the software, may ibang software na may available effects that you can use to enhance the pixelated image, may ibang wala. Okay? So, mas magandang ulitin nyo na lang, no, para hindi na kayo mahirapan sa editing ninyo. So, ulitin nyo na lang. Kung may time pa naman, much better yung ganun. Okay? So, I hope I was able to answer Noy's question.
Okay po. Thank you, Ma'am Jing. Na-answer naman po. May nag-chat na po ulit sa akin, si Mr. Julius Daet. And sabi niya po, how do you define a bad video? How do you define a bad video?
How do you define a bad video? Well, I guess it's if your video is, ako kasi when I look at a video, I want it to be siguro organized, no? Ayokong sabog siya. on my part, no, ayokong sabog siya. Again, you should remember yung number 4 tip ko that you should have an impactful message. Dapat naiintindihan siya ng viewer mo. So, kung napakaganda yung grand yung imagination mo for your video as an editor, that's good. Pero you should put again your shoes in the feet of, or you should put again your feet in the shoes of your viewers. No, naiintindihan ba nila? Kasi again, no matter how beautifully made that video can be, kung hindi siya naiintindihan, then that can be considered a bad video. No, and aesthetic siguro, I'm very particular with that. Using the right effects again, or yung images na ginagamit mo sa video, dapat very particular ka doon. Okay? Again.
Okay po. Thank you, Ma'am Jing. Now po, it's time for the other questions po from our participants. May questions po ba kayo? Baka nahihiya lang. Ayan, meron po. From Mr. Ken Joshua Vida. I've been using the default export or render settings in Premiere po. Is there any specific settings po ba that I should set to improve the quality of the finished video? Ma'am Jean?
Okay, sige. Thank you, Ken, for that question. Well, first you should know that when you are trying to have a good quality video, it will entail higher, larger file. Okay, kung hindi siya kaya ng device mo, i-render, no, I suggest kung ano yung kaya lang ng software mo, kasi magka-crash yan kung hindi kaya. Yun lang yung gamitin mo. Maganda rin, may mga default, kasi may yung software mo, alam naman nila yung which is better for your video. Kaysa i-push mo pa na taasan yung quality, hindi na nga kaya ng device or ng software mo. So siguro wala namang particular setting that you can use. It depends on the video that you're editing. But in terms of the resolution or the size, siguro ang gamitin mo yung modern one. Wag na yung standard TV size na square. Use the 1 to 80, no, yung sa PowerPoint natin, yung flat screen size. Just a flat screen size, yun yung gamitin mo. Although it will entail a longer time to render, pero kung good quality, yun yung good quality natin. But if you are producing a video for phone, may mga default na resolution for that. Okay? Minsan maganda rin yung default na lang yung gamitin para hindi ka mahirapan as an editor. Okay? Ayan. I hope I was able to answer the question of Ken.
Thank you, Ma'am Jing. I'm sure nasagot naman po. Now, meron naman po from Kyle Cedric. Aside from the rendering time, how long does it usually take to edit a video?
Well, that depends on the video that you're editing. Okay, if again, dun sa production stage mo, maganda na, pulido na, wala nang kailangan sobrang ayusin pa, then mas mapapadali yung editing process. And kung, of course, if your video is too long, like for instance, I've edited a lecture like 1 hour or more than an hour na file size. So, of course, it will take you too long to edit that kasi iisa-isahin mo pa yung every clip. No? So, it depends actually on the video that you're editing. Wala naman particular length of time or that you spend in editing. And also in your proficiency. Siyempre, kung alam mo na how to manipulate your software, alam mo na kung saan yung effects, may mga presets ka na that you usually use to improve your video, then it will be a lot easier for you. Ayan.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am. Thank you din, Kyle. How about the other participants po? If you have any questions, feel free po to chat it sa ating chat box. Meron pa po ba? Siguro po kung wala na, I think Ma'am Jing is always free naman yata po sa questions. Di ba, Ma'am Jing? Like sa email po. You can send it po through emails kay Ma'am Jing. Yes
yeah,
po.
And actually, I can share with you siguro sources if you want. Sa Google Classroom.
Yes, ma'am.
Hindi ko
diba? Email niya na si Ma'am Jing. may additional resources. All right, sa tingin ko, that's the end of the open forum. Thank you, Ma'am Jing, and to those who participated. Now we have come to the end of our program. We hope that we have all learned something from this ACP topic and have been inspired or challenged to use our talents and skills and get involved in programs and advocacies that would impact on people empowerment and social development. To show our gratitude for Ma'am Jing for her time and effort, we now present the Certificate of Appreciation with a citation. Office of Student Affairs, Ateneo de Naga University, presents the Certificate of Appreciation to Miss Jennifer B. Guevara in grateful recognition of her expertise and service as resource speaker in the alternative class program Rendering Basic Video Editing 101 held on April 20, 2021. Given this 20th day of April 2021 at the Ateneo de Naga University, City of Naga, Philippines. Signed, Rodolfo S. Vivertis Jr., Director of Student Affairs, Janet B. Badong Badilla, Executive Director for Mission and Identity, Dr. Alfredo C. Fabay, Vice President for Higher Education, and Father Roberto E. N. Rivera, S.J., University President. Again, we thank Ma'am Jing for this ACP session will not be possible without your presence po. Once again, let us go give a warm round of virtual applause to Miss Jennifer Guevara. Thank you, Ma'am Jing. So before we end this activity po, thank you, Ma'am. Please be reminded po to fill out the evaluation forms we posted in the chat box. The certificate of attendance shall only be awarded to those who accomplished the evaluation forms. Make sure that you input the correct spelling of your names on the evaluation form. Otherwise, your certificate's name shall be misspelled. We hope that you enjoyed this workshop and actually gained insights and new learning from it. This ends our workshop on Rendering Basic Video Editing 101. Thank you for being with us in this alternative class program 2021. Please stay healthy and safe, everyone. Bye po. Thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you so much. Thank you, Osa, and to our student volunteers, my former students.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Congrats.
Thank you very much po.